So everybody pretty much starts like this. You have a blank page and you have to come up with an idea. A professor of mine used to say that when you don't know where to start from the fact that you don't know where to start. Because cinematography is important, lighting is important, but the most important thing is your ideas, your story. So that's where we're going to start today. I'm going to explain to you some simple techniques that can help you write your story better. Of course, I can't explain you everything because it will take many hours. And we're going to simplify, obviously, some concepts, but I think that some of you might find this helpful anyway. Creativity is different for each one of us, so it's not like you have to follow this method, but I will say that you can use this method to polish your story and make it more efficient so that it actually works. So the first thing we want to do is start with the core of the story. So what is the core of the story? It's not the theme of the story. It's not about genre. It's not like we're talking about a love story or an action movie. No, we want to focus on the core of the story. And with that, I mean, what do we want to talk about? We want to talk about human relationship. We want to talk about love. We want to talk about the human nature. We want to talk about revenge or redemption. That's where we want to start. So I'll basically just write love, revenge, and redemption. Of course, this is just a very simple example. There are many more. Of course, you don't have to start from this because creativity is different for each one of us. So you might find yourself start drifting away with your mind and start thinking about a basic plot. You think about a character and is doing things, which is also fine. It's not a problem at all. The important thing is that one way or another, after you wrote the basic plot, you do understand what is the core of the story. Because you might find yourself writing a whole story, but there's no core. And it's going to be a problem. A lot of film today miss on this basic piece of information. They have a story, but they don't have a core. So we have these two elements, and I will use a very simple example to try to make you understand what I am talking about. Okay? So we're going to talk about Indiana Jones because it's a very simple example. Everybody pretty much knew Indiana Jones, so I think it's a good starting point. We have Indiana Jones. The story, the basic plot is Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Okay? So this is very interesting because in the title, we have pretty much the plot. But this is the basic plot, is not the core. The basic plot in this case is Indy gets hired by the CIA to recover the Ark of the Covenant. Okay? So there is Indy and he's fighting the Nazis, and there's the archaeology and all that kind of stuff. But this is not the core of the story. And I will explain to you with a very simple example. Probably some of you might remember this very funny bit in Big Bang Theory where there's Amy Farrah Fowler, which tells Sheldon that Indiana Jones is useless in the movies.
Indiana Jones plays no role in the outcome of the story. Like, if he weren't in the film, it would turn out exactly the same. And if he weren't in the movie, the Nazis would have still found the Ark, taken it to the island, opened it up, and all died, just like they did.
And that's true. That's pretty much the truth. But we're not watching the movie for the basic plot. The core of the plot starts when Indy meets Marion. Now, what do I mean when I'm saying this? I'm saying that in the Indiana Jones movies, the core is not archaeology, is not the artifact, is relationships. That's the core of the Indiana Jones movies. If you think about it, when the first film ends, he recovers the Ark. He gives the Ark to the CIA agents, and the movie could end like that, but they did add another scene where he comes down the stairs and meet with Marion. Because in the end, the most important thing was the fact that he found love. Now, when we want to make a story, we want to think this way. We want to think about the basic plot and the core of the story. And now you know what I am talking about. I will say that this is the easiest way to write a story. So there is an action part and there is a relationship part. A lot of movies are wrote like that. Another example can be Entrapment. So there is Sean Connery, which is this older thief, and there is Catherine Zeta-Jones, which is an insurance agent that's trying to catch him. But she is also a thief. So they start having a relationship. So here we go again. There is the basic plot. So the two are thieves that they want to rob some museum. And then there is the core of the story, which is love, relationship. That's why you're watching the movie. You're kind of interested in watching if they can make it, okay. But you're mostly watching it because you want to see if the relationship is going to work out or not. That's why you're watching the movie. Many people think that to write a story, you need to write an original story, to write something brand new that nobody has ever wrote before. But they're wrong, because we are telling pretty much the same stories since ancient Greece. So why? The point is why? Why we are watching the same stories over and over? Because we're humans. We're humans and we're interested in human relationships. And that's why soap operas still works. Because we want another thing in our stories and they have to be relatable to our viewers. I have the microphone in front of my keyboard, so I'm doing some mistakes. Sorry. If you can mix these elements, you'll probably start to have a pretty good story, even a great story, if you know how to mix these elements. I will just take this and I will put in here so that you'll have, so it's like this, the basic plot and the core of the story, and make a story relatable. Now, for today, this is everything. I'm going to make another video where we're going to talk about characters. If you like the video, if you like this series, please consider like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next video. The journey continues.